Hey friends, thank you for joining me on my first video on my brand new YouTube channel, Mexican. Really, I'm just starting this channel because I keep getting so many emails and messages on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and everywhere else on the digital universe about what our experience has been like as two kind of middle-aged Canadians that decided to pack it all in and semi-retire to beautiful Mexico. So really, I hope to answer a lot of the questions that I keep getting kind of over and over again in some of these messages about immigration and healthcare and culture and language and friends and just like what's the real truth about what it's really like to live there. So that's what spurred me to start this channel. By all means, if you have topics that you'd like me to explore or elaborate on about life in Mexico, please just drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to pull some research together so I can give a good answer. But I think the best place to start is just like the Coles Notes version of why we left. So we left Canada in October of 2021. We were, kind of 2/3 of the way through the COVID pandemic, and not unlike a lot of people, COVID really changed life for us. So much so that we just couldn't simply go back to the way we were living our lives before. And what I mean by that is that, first off, I'll say we were super happy in Canada. Like, I'm just a super patriotic Canadian girl. I got a couple of maple leaf tattoos. We were living the Canadian dream. I had this great job as an executive in the restaurant industry that I just loved. Jim was super successful in his sales career in Alberta, and life was just going right along. And we were traveling a ton. I think before COVID, the year before COVID, I think I was on the road 80 to 90 nights that year. Not because anybody was telling me to travel that much, but because I really believed. I worked in operations that, I needed to be where the action was. I needed to travel across the country to meet with franchisees from, all different parts of Canada, spend time in the restaurants with the teams that were working there every day. Because I really just believed that that's how I wanted to do the job. And then, of course, Jim was traveling a ton, a lot of international travel. He was working with a lot of oil and gas clients. So we would we would, cross paths at the airport sometimes. That's how ridiculous our schedules were. And then we kind of lived through the first lockdown, and we were forced to sit still for 5 minutes, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, hey, I remember how amazing it is to hang out with you and to spend all this time with you and time at home and with our pets, and just it was a really powerful, I'll say, awakening for us to the way that we kind of talked about how we wanted to live our life and what was important to us and how we were living our life. Really didn't match up to that. So that was kind of the first signal that, hey, changes are brewing. Something's got to change here. And sure enough, we weren't 6 weeks into the lockdown, and Jim decided to retire from his corporate life. I think that was the end of April. I stayed on in my role because I just had a deep passion for what I was doing. I wanted to continue to take care of my team and my franchisees and kind of help through this kind of rebuild in the restaurant industry. And that was the intent. But then things just kept progressing in Canada, and we just found ourselves, kind of in the fall of that year, really ideologically not aligned with the way Canada was responding to COVID, just politically in general. I think we were just a little bit disenfranchised. So we had just decided that, what? That's going to be it for now. We're going to hit pause, and we're going to move, and we're going to leave Canada. And I think we had decided on Mexico right away. Like most Canadians, we had spent a ton of time visiting Mexico, and not just the beaches. Like, yeah, we've been to all the beach resorts, but we had gone to Mexico City, I don't know, about 12 or 13 years ago now. Had an amazing time. Such a beautiful city. So we were really familiar with the country itself, and we had just decided that, like, that's it, we're gonna go. So Puerto Vallarta is actually where we initially thought we were gonna move to. We went through the process very quickly of selling real estate. We had a beautiful sailboat on Vancouver Island. We sold our boat, we sold our cars, our furniture, like literally everything we own. We keep a small storage locker in Calgary. It's got like the precious memorabilia in it. We have a rental property that we keep in Calgary, but other than that, that was it. We literally showed up at the airport, 4 big suitcases each, a German Shepherd, a Rottweiler, 2 cats. It was a bit of a sight to see. But we didn't end up going to Puerto Vallarta. We ended up going to Mexico City instead. And really, we were just sitting around in Calgary one night and we were talking about this kind of shared dream that we had. We'd always talked about one day living in like a really big mega city. And we were like, okay, well, we're already moving to Mexico. Like, why don't we go to Mexico City? We loved it there. We had such a great time. And honestly, at this point, what's the worst thing that could happen? We don't like it. We can always move down to the beach, or, we can move elsewhere. So that's how we ended up in Mexico City. And honestly, with, over 2 years under our belts now, I wouldn't change a thing. We don't plan on going back to Canada to live full time. We've certainly completed our immigration. We've built this really terrific life here. And there's so many misconceptions about Mexico and Mexico City specifically. And that's where a lot of the questions that I get really, really come into play. So just my hope with this channel, like I said, is to just shine a big bright light on Mexico City, what our real experience has been like here, just to help answer any questions or, put to rest any fears that some folks might be having, because I know it's a pretty hot topic in Canada these days. Lots of folks looking to kind of spread their wings and maybe see what else is out there. So please feel free to drop me a comment if there's something that you'd like me to expand on specifically. But yeah, I hope to do 2 or 3 videos a week and just share as much information as I can. So thank you for tuning in and coming with me on the journey, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye for now.